Hi guys, how you doing? Can I ask you what you're studying?
Civil engineering.
Civil engineering. Have you ever heard of Euclid of Alexandria?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. No.
You ever heard of Euclidean geometry?
No.
Euclid's elements?
No.
He wrote the mathematical principles, the axioms in which we base, the world we live in, the construction, navigation. It's using trigonometry, Pythagoras. Using these types of things. So you're into engineering, construction, but you've never heard of Euclid.
No.
That's one of the questions I find really bizarre. That's okay. Can I ask you, do you understand pseudoscience? Do you know what pseudoscience is?
Not really.
Do you know what pseudoscience is?
Not really.
If somebody makes a claim about something and they claim that it is true, for me, in order for it to be scientific, it has to be measurable. It has to be, quantifiable, something you can demonstrate. So we get people make claims that are, like religious ideologies or fanciful claims that can't be proven, and I would class that as pseudoscience. Can I ask you then, if I was to ask you this, if I was to ask you, could you prove to me, using the scientific method, if you could prove the globe Earth to me, would you be able to do that?
Prove the what?
The globe, that the Earth is indeed a globe. Could you prove that scientifically?
Yeah, if I sat down.
You sat down, but nothing offhand?
I highly doubt we'd be able to answer that offhand.
You can't answer it offhand? Do you think that's a bit strange that if it was a globe, where it would be self-evident enough that you could give me some sort of scientific measurement or something that would prove it?
Well, I don't think we can do that offhand.
You don't think you could do it offhand? Do you believe it's a globe?
Sure.
You do? And could you give me a reason why?
Nah, it's just because it's widely accepted. I'm sure it's been proven somehow.
So it's would you say that's fallacious reasoning and fallacious logic, that it's an appeal to consensus?
I think it's widely agreed upon, yeah.
But that's an appeal to consensus, it's not scientific?
Yeah. But I'm sure there's science behind it. It's just, it's not for us to. If we sat down and researched about it, I'm pretty sure we'd be able to tell you. But it's not our field of study. There's claims to everything, but
Do you think it's important that if you have a held belief that you maybe go and look at that and try and understand why you hold that belief?
Not really. We've got other things to worry about.
You've got other things to worry about, life in general, your career, exams, pay your bills.
Money for the next meal. It's something that doesn't really concern us right now.
No, it doesn't concern you. Okay, excellent. Can I ask you just quick, what do you think life is? How would you describe life? Do you have a philosophy on life?
Yeah.
What?
Wake up, live, sleep.
Living the now?
Yeah.
Same.
Exact same. Guys, thank you for answering the questions. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much. Cheers, man. Thank you. Thank you, buddy. Hi guys, how you doing? You alright? My name's Dale.
Nice to meet you.
How you doing? You alright? How you doing, sir? How you doing? Can I ask you guys what you're studying here at the university?
Electronic and software engineering. Yeah.
You same? You're all doing the same?
Yeah.
Can I ask you, have you ever heard of Euclid of Alexandria?
No.
You ever heard of Euclidean geometry?
No. Oh, yeah.
You have heard of Euclidean geometry? Do you understand what it is?
So, I actually watched a video on this the other day.
Okay.
Euclidean is just like how everything makes sense. I watched a video on a non-Euclidean geometry.
Yep.
So he went through like a tunnel that looked really short, but really he ended up really far away.
Yeah. So you understand the difference of the two geometries? Do you know where we apply Euclidean plane principles?
No.
We apply it to construction, navigation, everyday living. Euclid of Alexandria wrote Euclid's elements. It's what we base a lot of the mathematical axioms that are based on reality, and we use it for construction and different things. So that's a fundamental fact, and I find it really strange that students have never really heard of Euclid of Alexandria. It doesn't seem to be a big topic in the education system at all. The issue that I have with that, guys, is have you ever heard of pseudoscience?
Yeah.
Could you describe for me what you think pseudoscience is?
Kind of like made up terms that kind of appear scientific to trick people into believing.
Yeah, so like sophistry, you know what sophistry is? Like sophism, it's clever argumentation designed to sway people to believe in, whatever stance you're taking. So you know what pseudoscience is? People make a claim that they say is objectively true and they can't demonstrate that. So if I was to ask you then, obviously for me real science is about quantification. being able to demonstrate things practically, the physical reality that we live in, any aspect of it, and no excuses are permitted. So you've never heard of Euclid and Euclidean geometry? Will you have? So that's plane geometry.
If you turn around to me and it's not real, I would say
No. Euclidean principles are real, they're very real, we use them. The whole world that we use right now is founded upon these things. It's planar geometry. It's not concerned with curved surfaces. Do you understand that?
Okay, so it's just flat surfaces.
It's flat surfaces. Okay. Euclidean principles we use.
Okay.
But yet we're led to believe that the Earth's a round ball.
Oh mate, no.
But listen, I mean, I've made a factual point here, and I know that you may have heard of this topic, right? But don't presume to know what I'm about. Right? So that's a real issue for me. If these things are what we use in the practical real world, but yet we see this image on a TV screen that's contradicting the real world, what would you go with? Would you go with real principles of engineering, construction, real world tangibility, or would you suspend it for the image?
So I would go with real world evidence, which would be that there is a ball, not on Euclidean geometry. Because I don't think Euclidean geometry is just about flat planes. I think it's every geometry that we have.
Yeah, it encompasses
that car
them.
Currently displays Euclidean geometry.
Yeah,
because
it has curves and stuff.
Yeah.
But the fundamental principles of it, that it's starting from a plane. So an engineer who wants to construct a car or design a car will use Euclidean principles. He'll use a vertical and a horizontal, and that's where he'll do his scaling from, and he'll use a Cartesian type grid reference. So that's not really about.
But a sphere would also have that axis. At the centre of a sphere, you would also have the vertical, horizontal axis, your X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, you're talking about visible geometry, though.
I'm just saying. So you're saying that car will be designed off of Euclidean planes, which is your X, Y, Z. So will the sphere, which I would say is the Earth.
Right.
So at the centre of our Earth, at the centre of the globe, you would have your Euclidean planes.
You would have Euclidean planes. How could you ever have a plane on a ball?
Because it's in the same way
you're dissecting it through the centre of it.
So at that point, you're going to have an X plane, a Y plane, and a Z plane.
Okay, right. So that's mathematical axioms again that you're using. So that's fine on paper and that works on paper. But I take it to the practical world. So look at this.
For example, you can find the volume of a sphere by splitting up into small planes. So you can use
mathematically,
and so you can use the mathematical results to demonstrate the volume.
But you
of the
understand
sphere.
mathematics is a formal science.
Yeah.
It's a language. It's not categorised as a natural science. In order for it to be utilised in the natural sciences, it must be attached to some sort of substance that can be practically used and demonstrated. So again, we go back to the real world. So if I was to construct something right now over water, and I was an engineer, I would use planar principles. So I would start my first block, which would be plumb and level. You understand what plumb and level is. Now each block that I build to that is perpendicular to the first block. Now if I was to construct that straight out over a stretch of a mile, the gap between the bottom of that and the water should increase by 8 inches over 1 mile.
I'm not sure of that fact for 8 inches. I don't think it's as big as that.
Well, that's the globe mathematics.
Sure about that? Can I see where that figure is?
Check it. You can go away and check this. You know, you don't have to take what I'm saying as facts right now. I'm just talking to you in general. They will claim that it's 8 inches per mile squared. That's the claim for 24,000 mile circumference Earth. So we should be able to see that. You know, in the real world, it should be able to be quantifiable. But the problem I'm finding is that nobody can give a real scientific measurement or demonstration of the globular Earth.
Mirages.
Mirages.
So boats can appear below the horizon, but mirages in the same. Look at that is proof.
So that's an optical phenomenon, but that's not quantifiable.
How do you explain it in a flat Earth? How do you explain mirages with boats appearing above the horizon?
What I'm trying to establish is what can be actually demonstrated.
That can be demonstrated, that's a proof, right?
Yeah, but it's an optical phenomenon.
Yeah, but how does it happen?
Well,
if it happens on a flat Earth, how does it happen?
Well, this is the problem that we're finding. There's no exacting science to visible space and visible geometry.
We cannot say our horizon. Like, if I stood up on a tower 20 feet tall and looked out at a boat sailing off, okay, I'll see it to a point. My mate standing on a 100-foot tower will continue to see that boat because he can see higher around the curvature.
Yeah, well, listen, the geometry of the ball is like we're on a hill right now, okay? Now, if we were to identify the horizon, it would be at our eye level. Now, on a curved surface, as I start to elevate up, my horizon must remain fixed. So I would have to angle downwards constantly to look at my horizontal, my horizon. But we don't do that. It doesn't matter how high up we go, it's straight out in front of us.
No, but I can see the boat further because he's curved round, he's here. My mate at this height can't see him because he can only see to here, whereas I can see over. So how do you explain that without a curvature?
Well, I would explain that with the fact that we have curved lenses in our eyes. and that the angle that's subtended to the eye, the light, is so minute. If we're so close to the ground, the further away things get, the angle is so minute that the eye can't resolve it anymore. So if you elevate up, you can see a greater distance.
But even if I have binoculars, I wouldn't.
That's not how optics work.
What do you mean?
I'm pretty certain that the angle you're saying there is not how optics work.
Well, that's how we calculate when we're using a sextant to navigate. The sextant is the outer curve of a sextant represents the outer curve of your eye. So you have spheres in your eyes. So that's a different geometry. Visible space is a different thing from tangible space. Do you understand?
Okay, so if you're saying visible space geometry exists, then what's your argument for that and applying to the real world?
Well, the thing about it is the globe uses a lot of visible phenomena to try and push that it's a globe.
Okay, if it's a flat Earth, what's your explanation of the visible phenomena?
Visible phenomena?
Yeah.
For me, it's not an exacting science right now, and it's hard.
You don't have an explanation, is what you're saying.
I have explanations, but there's nothing tangible. I can't quantify it, and neither can you.
But your argument being earlier that you should only believe in stuff that's quantified and tangible, well, you've got no proof to suggest otherwise. So
I'm not using this as a proof.
Yeah, okay, what's your proof?
It's just a discussion. Well, if we use plain principles, the other aspect is that I understand fluid mechanics. I understand that a fluid will take the shape of its container. The surface will always be in the equilibrium, will always be a horizontal plane. I cannot demonstrate a body of water, bending it and maintaining
you don't have
it.
Large enough gravitational mass.
You will go back to pseudoscience and excuses again.
It's not pseudoscience.
Of course it is. So demonstrate it.
I'm not an astrophysicist. So there isn't proof there.
So you would appeal to an authority then, or consensus?
I'm at a university right now. I appeal to the university. I appeal to.
We go to Ben. We'll go to my flatmate that studies physics.
Yeah, and you don't think that's fallacious to appeal to some authority or some other consensus?
My entire university degree is based off. You can go up there and you can see the names on the gate, like Ohm, by something. You know, Ohm.
And there's no doubt in your mind that any of that could ever be wrong.
Why would they lie to you? What's the benefit? What's the benefit of lying?
Well, if I go to a murder scene, I don't look for motive before investigating the crime scene.
No, but I understand conspiracy theories and that there's always someone to be tricked. Obviously, the moon landing, you could argue that they wanted to look like they reached out before the Russians. There's always a reasoning behind it. But what would be the point in arguing that our Earth's a globe?
Well, it's not about arguing, and I'm not coming for any particular stance. I deny the globe. Okay, but I don't have any investment in a particular model or what it is. I'm just asking objective questions. And the problem that I find with people is it always turns to kind of us against them kind of emotional type stuff. For me, science is about objectivity. There's no emotion required in it. It's about what can you quantify for me and practically demonstrate for me in order for me to accept it as real.
I think though you can go to any science and disprove anything. Like if you went to quantum physics, you would say that car is not really there. That car isn't there. That car's in 42 other places right now. But you can look at anything and say this is wrong, but like what you have to look at experiment. You have to look at the greater picture and say, okay, well, all these point to this, so we use the greater number to decide that this is true, even though this one thing might disprove it, because like it just happens. It's the way you have to go for it.
So going back to fluid mechanics, if I stated that to you about fluid mechanics, you understand fluid?
Yeah, but that applies to, it doesn't apply to like gravity. You're considering fluid mechanics for small things. You apply fluid mechanics too.
So what is it that you think that happens to liquid on a larger scale that allows it to display bends on the surface?
It doesn't bend on the surface, it's attracted to the centre of the Earth.
But the surface must be bent. They show you an image that shows you oceans bending.
No, it doesn't. But you're considering it's a solid that's bending, whereas it's just each little water molecule is being pulled and attracted to the centre of our Earth.
So what allows it to hump up?
It doesn't hump up, it's like... Have
you ever seen a globe?
Yeah, I've seen a globe.
It's called the oceans are humped up.
They're not humped, they're curved slightly. It's very, the argument's a very small curvature.
It's thousands of miles of curvature.
Yeah, a giant Earth like.
But that's not how fluids behave.
Yeah, but is it the water or is it just the shape of our globe? How do you know it's not just the
you're considering
underneath?
You're considering fluid mechanics on its own. You're not considering gravity alongside it.
So can you define gravity?
Gravity, I am not an astrophysicist. I don't pretend to know this sort of stuff.
But this is a great point because this is part of the aspects where people regurgitate these things and they'll stand firmly on it and they don't understand them. So this is a huge point that I like to point out.
So your argument for the flat Earth is based on the fact that you don't want to trust.
I'm not arguing for any.
I know, okay. You're saying you're not accepting the globe.
To the globe.
You're denying the globe based on the fact you don't want to trust an institution. Is what you're saying.
No, just because I can't justify me having a belief in it myself.
Okay,
I cannot justify believing I live on a globe without any proof. Do you think that's unreasonable?
So images, all those NASA images, they're just completely photoshopping them. For what benefit?
Well, you keep going back to the motive again.
Yeah, what's the motive?
I could offer you motives, but it doesn't negate the fact that I'm investigating the actual circumstance.
Why would NASA bother lying? Like,
why does any human lie?
To gain some benefit. What's the benefit they're gaining?
Well,
if there's some benefit...
in your experience, why does a human being lie to you?
to gain some benefit, to get
Right,
advantage.
okay.
So here's the thing, right? How many employees are there in all the European space stations? And how many there are that one of them wouldn't break away and say, look, here's the Photoshop data, here's a real image from the Flat Earth, here's what it actually is, and here's the Photoshop. Why has no one in the whole world came out with this evidence?
See how emotional you're getting?
Yeah, because I get
you're
annoyed
triggered.
at people. Yeah, I'm getting
But
triggered.
it shouldn't be emotional because it's about objectivity.
Yeah, no, I'm just getting
I'm not
annoyed.
trying to sell you anything.
I know you're not trying to sell me anything, but you're just annoying me in that, like, people, is for example,
Maybe you should have a look at why you're triggered.
why I'm triggered. Okay, so if you go into a maths class and someone comes along and says
Maths doesn't prove anything.
I know, no, I'm just saying. So the fact you believe you 100% know is true, and someone comes along and say it isn't, and they don't provide any solid arguments to show the Earth isn't flat.
Well, the solid arguments I can see is that the principles that we use in the real world that have constructed your university and stuff like that work on plain principles.
It's an approximation.
Yeah, but we've already disproved that and said that our globe is off of a plane principle. You think plane principles means everything's flat. That's not what it means. Then you can construct a globe from plane principles. There's your fucking plane, and then you construct a globe around that.
So you think we construct and navigate on curves?
Yeah.
You think so?
No, we don't construct on curves. We construct curves from our plane, from our planes. We don't construct on the curve.
Well, you would have to, if I built a bridge a couple of miles long, I would have to be considering curvature.
Yeah.
But we don't.
If you don't mind, I look up that statistic on how 8
Have a
inches
bridge
between 1
that's a
mile.
couple of miles long.
Check. There's a guy called Mick West, Metabunk.
No, I'll get
because
my
I'm
own.
sure-
You do whatever you like. Oh, he's a globe proponent, so this is the official globe narratives.
But like, your argument was that I can't prove
But I've
it.
not got an argument. I'm asking questions.
Your question was that I can't prove it, so I don't believe in it. But I mean, can you prove that I'm breathing air?
Well, it's demonstrable. Air is demonstrable. It can be quantified and it can be measured and tested.
So how can the curvature of the Earth not?
It's never been measured and shown. It's
Yeah,
the
but
only
if
place.
I took you into a fucking rocket, took you up, and you were like, oh,
Have you been up in a rocket?
Yeah.
You've been up in a rocket?
Yeah.
When?
Last Tuesday. Went up. It was alright. The meal was a bit shit, but
You're talking about an aeroplane?
no, I went up fucking ISS. I was fucking there.
Oh, sorry, I was having dinner with Nessie yesterday.
That's
I've
fair.
got photographs I can show you.
I know, but was it like those graphs will be constructed from people that are arguing the side of, flat Earth
So do you think objective reality can be debated?
in terms of what I said.
Well, if something's objectively true, it's not a debate, it's not an idea. So again, we get back to what science actually is, and science is about quantification, practical demonstration.
Yeah.
So I'm asking, you ridicule and laugh when I talk about fluid dynamics. That's a fact.
No,
that's how it works.
Are you like don't believe in gravity, or
Well, gravity. See, the thing about it is they don't even know what gravity is. They'll say the effect. They'll talk about how quick things fall, right? And they'll even tell you this. We can describe what it does, but what it actually is, we don't know. But there's two definitions of gravity. There's Einsteinian and Newtonian, which are two different things.
you give me them?
Newtonian.
Yeah.
Newtonian's that mass attracts mass. Einsteinian's the warping and bending of space-time.
Oh yeah, but like those two relate to completely different things. Einsteinian surely.
None of them are demonstrable. They're both mathematical concepts.
Gravitational waves. That was a demonstration.
Where?
There's gravitational waves discovered by certain field people 2 or 3 years ago that demonstrated Einstein's theory of gravitation.
Or did they?
Yeah, they did, yes.
Right,
100%. That's
you
fact.
know
That's
for a
proven.
fact-
I've read some very brief extracts on paper on it. I didn't bother reading because I wasn't bothered, but I trust institutes. Why would you?
That's fine. Look, I accept you for that. You don't have to get anxious about it.
Yeah.
I accept. I'm not here to try and push anything.
know you're not here to try
I
and
just want an honest demonstration of interaction about this topic
Yeah.
because
It's just
it
like-
causes a lot of division between people,
Yeah.
and I don't want to perpetuate that. Again, people are free and entitled to believe what they want to believe, but I'm entitled to ask questions.
Yeah. It's just like when you say what they've done is bullshit. Like you're like, oh well, how do you know that they did that? How do you're shitting on a lot of people's jobs.
No, not
Like
at all.
a lot of physicists' jobs, everyone that works at CERN, you're just saying, okay, well, they're all just talking shite, they haven't done that. You're shitting on all the astrophysicists.
What does CERN have to do with establishing curvature of the Earth beneath our feet?
Well, you said about gravitation, the pursuit of finding the Higgs boson refers back to gravity.
Well, if you let me finish, the way in which objects fall has got no relevance in establishing the dimensions of the Earth beneath our feet. Gravity, the moon, the stars, things that they don't define
Gravity
the shape of
explains
the
how
Earth.
the water would stay on the Earth.
It explains,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
can't practically demonstrate it.
Yeah, it does.
But how practically demonstrate it then?
Okay, yeah.
You can't practically demonstrate with a ball and
Well, that's pseudoscience.
it's not a
That's not
pseudoscience.
pseudoscience.
There's proofs. I don't know the proofs.
Well, if I went to a Christian and I says, prove Jesus to me, they'll show me a Bible.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Like,
Is that scientific?
That's
wrong.
But they have math. Like, I don't really get what your argument's getting at.
But it's the same thing because you
keep saying
but you're offering up a language, you're offering up an explanation, not a practical demonstration. So a religious person will give me an explanation, but no
A
science.
religious person, yeah, I wouldn't call that an explanation.
You're referring back to planar geometry and axioms of maths.
Yeah.
So you accept they're true.
Yeah.
You can extend them further and further, keep going, and you can prove them backwards until the point where it does demonstrate these things if you follow along. But I haven't bothered reading these papers, so that's not what my degree specialises in.
Yeah. So you would go with explanations over practicality.
So,
Yeah, but there is evidence to our
do you believe in
explanations.
electrons?
That's besides the point. It's got nothing to do with establishing the shape
See,
of the earth
you
beneath
can't
our
let
feet.
us explain things.
This is just
unless
furthering
you-
on your practical demonstrations. Have you seen a practical
Is
demonstration
it
of electrons?
quantifiable?
You can demonstrate electrons,
Yeah,
but
It
have you
can be
seen
demonstrated.
But have you seen it?
Doesn't matter if can it be demonstrated.
Have you seen it? Is the question I'm asking.
Listen,
have
man.
you seen the
Listen,
demonstration
man.
that proves electrons?
Listen, we're in agreement here. If it's demonstrable, I accept it.
Okay, but the demonstration of gravitational waves, that data did prove those things.
Yeah.
That data was shown. Yes, it does. Look it up.
Right.
Look up the
So-
gravitational
so-
waves.
so that-
is demonstrable. They received gravitational waves, and we're able to prove it from
Just
demonstrations.
wind
We can
your
demonstrate
emotions
gravity.
in, man. Come on.
No,
it's not a battle.
Yeah, okay, I'm just saying that that is
If we
that
can't
is
see
demonstrable.
if human beings can't agree on first principles, this is why communication breaks down.
Okay.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, if I speak to you as a man without appealing to authority, consensus, fallacious logic, because that's what you're offering, fallacious reasoning.
Gravitational waves have been proven.
You're
They
offering
have been
fallacious
proven.
logic. That's no you. You read that from somewhere.
Okay,
it's
so
no
but
your
you-
experience.
Okay, so you
That's what I'm
haven't.
saying.
So you
Listen,
can't believe in
I'm
electricity
a-
until you've seen demonstrations.
No,
That's
it's practical.
No, have you seen a demonstration of
That's true,
electrons?
I can understand it from a.
But you've only read it online. You
Just
haven't
calm
seen
down.
that, so you don't believe
Just
in that.
calm down.
I'm just using your argument against
I'm
it.
speaking to you as a human being,
I know, I'm
singular.
speaking to you as a human being too.
Right, don't appeal to anything that's no your experience. Okay.
Okay, I have not seen electrons, so therefore my entire degree, I can't believe in my entire degree. That's
No,
your
I
argument.
never says you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But unless it's practically demonstrable
It
to
can be
you.
practically demonstrated, but I haven't seen it practically demonstrated.
Well, that's
to me.
right. Well, you're
So
not an expert. You're not qualified to talk on it then.
Yeah, okay, then.
Right. So don't bring it up.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
You know,
so then-
don't.
But no, my argument being, so you're saying you'll only believe in something.
I can recite.
Once it's demonstrated.
I
to
can
you, yeah.
recite all sorts of stuff that's nothing to do with me.
Yeah, no, okay. Your argument in this entire thing is it hasn't been
I'm
demonstrated.
not arguing.
Okay, your
Discussion.
discussion, but it
About
is your side of the
objective.
argument. In a discussion, there's arguments on either side. It's not an argument; it's an aggressive form.
Yeah.
Your argument being that you haven't seen a demonstration of gravity on the Earth with water, so you don't believe in it.
I don't.
Okay, you haven't seen a
Mass
demonstration.
attracting mass has never been shown
Okay, it has been shown with third body
Where?
problem and stuff like this. It has been proven.
mathematically.
Okay, we're going to ignore that. Okay, we're just going to move on for the moment. Ignore that. You probably edit this.
No, I'm not. It's going to be shown the way it is. Honestly.
Cool. Okay.
Can I just... No. Do you yourself believe in other planets?
What do you mean? Believe in other planets?
Do you believe other planets?
So I see luminaries. They're a visible phenomena in my reality. I don't know what they are.
Okay, cool.
So, but as in you believe in space?
Don't believe in space.
What do you believe
Know what they
happens?
tell you.
What
Well, I'll
do
go
you
to
believe?
physics again. Okay, this is
No,
another.
I just want you to explain to me what happens after our sky.
Well, this is physics. I don't know what's up there, but physics will tell me that pressure, gas pressure, to be maintained within a vacuum requires containment. That's
An
physics.
atmosphere.
That's physics.
Yeah.
Any gas.
And gravity would demonstrate how it keeps in the atmosphere.
But you're going to keep saying that, but you can't demonstrate me that.
The
What do you mean by
seriously,
demonstrate?
can you just
Well,
please
well-
go look up gravitational waves and those proofs?
Yeah, I've looked at it. I've been doing this for 4
And,
years.
Yeah, those gravitational waves did prove
Yeah.
gravity existed, and the discovery of the Higgs boson also
Yeah.
suggested this. So that's proof that exists, and that applies to them. They can extrapolate from that. So that has been proven.
So what I'm trying to establish is the shape of the Earth.
I know. The
So-
argument being, okay,
But
can we boil this down?
stems
Okay.
from that.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Can I say one point,
Yeah.
please? Can we boil it down to you don't believe in a round Earth because it cannot be proven to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, by extension, you haven't been proven lots of things. You haven't been proven how the electrons work going back to that. You haven't been proven that.
Not my point, no.
No, that is your point. Your argument is you don't believe in something because it can't be proven to you. So you shouldn't believe in anything else except for what you can see right now. You've not seen electrons. You've not seen
I don't
experiments
believe
to
in just
demonstrate.
what I can see either.
But then why have you picked the Earth to be the one thing you decided you don't believe in, and you believe in other stuff that you've been told are true?
Because-
Why have you picked that?
But you're just putting words in my mouth and talking about stuff that I've
No,
not even
but I'm
stated.
not putting a single word.
When you
Can you-
watch this back, you're going to see how ridiculous you're
I
being,
would
sir.
actually love you to send that to me, but
You
I would
can
like.
go to the site and you can watch it, but you're being totally ridiculous.
No, so can I ask you, right? So you do not believe in the flat Earth? Sorry, you believe in the flat Earth?
I don't know what the full dimensions
Okay,
there
you don't
are.
believe in the Earth being
The
circular
Earth's demonstrably
because
level.
it cannot be proved to you.
The Earth is demonstrably level.
You cannot be proven to you.
It's been measured.
Okay, but you do not believe in a spherical Earth because it cannot be proven to you.
It's
correct?
not real.
It hasn't been demonstrated to you.
Pseudoscience.
See, now you're saying you're having a discussion, then you're stating facts here and not saying discussions. You're giving it to me for
the world
statements.
of construction and navigation shows you beyond any shadow of doubt.
How do you go around in a circle? How do you go from here all the way back around, going through
circumnavigate?
Yeah, how do you circumnavigate? So you believe you go around on the edges of the Earth?
I just circumnavigated you.
Okay, so you believe, what do you believe is at the edge of the Earth? Can you fall off? You don't know.
The Great Ice Wall.
I don't use fallacious reasoning. I don't make assumptions or claims to know things I don't know.
So okay, going back to that then, you can't, like, how do you know electrons are real? How do you know that?
It's nothing to do with me. You use electrons to prove the globe. Use electrons to prove the globe.
My argument being is you accept some things but accepting other because you want to.
Is it demonstrable? Can it be measured and quantified?
I'm going to get anywhere. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
See, it's fallacious because you're not something that's not relevant.
What I'm trying to
I think this could go on for. This could go on for a while.
Well, this is just good to highlight this though, because then I can break it down. So you're welcome. Look, Gav came here. He was a university student here. He's an honours graduate in maths and physics.
Yep.
He lives in Germany now. He's in his 50s. He's on the podcast every Saturday. It'd be great if you want to come and speak to him because he'll break it down for you as well.
I would like my chance to research into this because I'm not.
You do that.
Yep.
You do that.
I was
even at that.
an interesting discussion.
Yeah.
So the mathematical axioms that are being used are attached to real world substance. Okay.
Yeah.
The Euclid's principles. If you get Euclid's elements, that's what it's about. Okay, so that's what we use in the real world that does not concern itself with curved surfaces.
The thing is, we've just talked about how that doesn't apply because Euclidean principles does work for curves. Like,
Listen,
what you're saying isn't true.
See, in the world of construction, we understand plumb and level. Just let me finish. Okay. So if we start here and I build plumb and level, okay, from my first point, as I build out this is going to drop away from my construction. That's what would happen with the Earth curving away from me, but it doesn't happen.
On a massive
Can you actually
scale,
prove that?
I'm not
Because I
saying
haven't.
like a mile or two. I'm saying
Can I ask that?
Would you agree if the Earth's a ball, there must be curvature?
Can I ask?
Okay. But if it's not there in the real world and it's not being accounted for, would you say there's a problem?
I would argue that it is.
Going back to the demonstrational thing, have you seen a bridge a mile long with no curves? Have you gone out and measured, got a bridge built a mile long over water?
Over water?
Yeah, and have you gone and done that yourself and demonstrated to you?
I've demonstrated how water behaves numerous times. I've made a scientific prediction and I've tested it and I've measured it.
You're asking for demonstrational thing. You're saying right now that if you were to build a bridge a mile long, I still haven't looked at the argument. I'm still not entirely sure of the truth of it. But you're saying your argument is right now, you build a bridge a mile long, you won't see the 8 inches. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Have you seen that yourself?
What do you mean?
Have you gone and demonstrated that to yourself?
It's construction every single day. But nobody accounts for a curve.
Have you demonstrated that to yourself? Have you followed your demonstration principles?
You're getting emotional again. Just calm down.
I'm asking
calm down.
I'm getting annoyed because you're not answering my questions.
Because you're putting crap in my mouth. You're bringing up irrelevant, illogical points continually.
Your entire argument is based on you want demonstrable facts, and then you bring up this stat.
It's a demonstrable fact that water does not curve at all. Okay, there. Yep. So you demonstrate me how it does.
You're getting emotional.
Well, I'm just doing the same to you.
Okay, but,
to make a point.
But water itself is individual particles, and they don't bend because they're
demonstrate that it can curve.
But we're not saying that water curves. We're saying that gravity.
It must curve if it's on a ball. Listen, it would have to have an elasticity on the surface to make it bend.
Water actually has elasticity. Van der Waals forces and stuff like that.
So you could bend a swimming pool and it would bend and it would display the bend on the swimming pool.
Well, it's just like a ridiculous argument.
How?
It's not on a
That's
scale
what they're telling you. So tell me what happens at scale. What new property goes into the water that now allows it to bend?
Because there's no bend on that and that. You're not going to see a bend that's measurable. It's on.
Well, it's no science. If it's no measurable, it's no science.
It is measurable from space.
You want to argue with a flat
picture?
Jan, come here, Jan. Please.
Nice misrepresentation. Nice misrepresentation. This is great to show the religious doctrine and the religious behaviour that comes from people.
What religion doctrine?
Well, it's religious culty behaviour that's going on right now. You have not even got the ability of an objective conversation with me.
I'm asking
You're continually throwing illogical nonsense.
I'm getting emotional. Can I clarify why I'm getting emotional?
Go
because
for
you're
it.
not answering questions. You're saying I'm putting words in your mouth. I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, you ask for demonstrational proof, and then I ask you, have you seen demonstrational proof that shows the Earth is flat? And you don't provide that either.
I've provided it. You watch this back. You just don't understand. The problem is you're talking from ignorance.
Okay, it was nice to
You're
talk.
talking from ignorance. I hope that you can come back and realise what you've done.
I will realise that I'm still correct.
Beyond the imaginary curve. Beyond the imaginary curve. Yep. And listen, there's nothing personal for me. No offence, guys. So when I break it down, you'll have the opportunity to come and speak anytime you like. And you're representing this university. There you go. There's some of the problems we're facing.